Assessing and evidencing computing work in Purple Mash is really simple and can be done in a variety of ways. Firstly, when we're thinking about assessment, you can find within the computing scheme of work a multitude of different assessment options for you to use. Easily, these can be found at the top of the computing scheme of work area in the assessment folder. We have 3 different methods ranging in complexity. The most simplified option is to use the year group and unit assessment coverage. For example, if I was working with a Year 2 class, this document contains all of the assessment outcomes for each unit if you're following the Purple Mash scheme of work, and gives you the emerging, expected and exceeding outcomes, and then you can assume that all children are working at ARE except the children who are working towards and the children who are working above. You can use this document to help fill in these sections once you've completed each unit to give you an idea for an end of year judgment as to those children who are consistently falling below or above ARE. Alternatively, you may wish to use the Spreadsheet tool. You can use the Spreadsheet tool for either PC or Mac devices. Opening this will allow you to select your year group spreadsheet, and once this is downloaded, you will then be able to populate the spreadsheet with end of unit data. So for example, if we've just done Unit 2.1 coding and I want to just check the outcomes the children should be aiming for, I can click on the different unit number and it will pop up with guidance for children working at emerging, expecting and exceeding. I can then click underneath the child's name once for emerging, twice for expected, or 3 times for exceeding. I can clear by clicking a 4th time. The idea is that as a child works through the various units within the scheme of work, they will become more confident and secure in the different areas, and this will help give me an end of year overall judgment. So you can see that even though Alice is expected in a few of the units, she's still receiving an emerging overall judgment. If the outcomes change throughout the year, as you'll see, this will update the outcome accordingly. You'll find a handy little video guidance tool for the spreadsheets at the end of this row in the assessment folder, which is useful for yourself or your colleagues just to find out more information as to how this can be used. The third option is that we have a comprehensive data dashboard which helps to compile all children's scores from quizzes and games they complete on Purple Mash, as well as it will capture teacher judgments based on national curriculum objectives. If you wish to use this method, you'll find that within your scheme of work year group, for example, if I'm working with my Year 2s and we're doing coding for lesson 5, then if I was to set this task as a to-do, I can then add national curriculum objectives to judge children's outcomes by. For example, if I wanted to set this to-do, I'll first just check what the objective for the lesson is, which is to understand the functions of buttons in a program. So I can set this as to do. And here, to help track and evidence work, I can enter tags. So for example, if I just want to enter the keyword of coding, it will allow me to search within my to-dos for all coding activities. Alternatively, I can be more specific by adding a tag of the unit number, which this unit is Unit 2.1, and this is Lesson 5. So I can add this to allow me or my computing lead to easily search within the to-dos area, and it will extract this particular to-do. So it will help if someone is monitoring the work in the future, and it saves them having to sift through all the different lessons in the to-do folder. This actual activity has some objectives linked to the national curriculum, which can be found in the lesson plan. You'll see here that in the preparation section of this lesson, this applies to the Year 2 computer science objectives, and it's these 3 objectives that can be added. If I click the Year 2, computing, computer science, I can click on all 3. Please note, children aren't aware that any objectives are added to work. This is purely for teachers to see from their login access. This now allows me to access work children complete as a to-do and to apply my own judgment based on these objectives. Opening up the to-do that I've just set about functions of buttons, if I click See Work, I can see that Amy has done some work on this already. The 3 objective points that I added are now here, so I can add my judgment to it. If I want to view the work in more detail, I can click Mark and I can assess from within the work as well. I can mark these as working below, working at, or working beyond. And if this isn't your school's terminology, you can do a one-off personalisation and it will update all judgment within your school's Purple Mash account, either from the preset menu or you can type your own in the spaces. What will happen now is that judgment will be banked against Amy's work, and myself as a teacher or the computing lead will be able to view and monitor the children's data by clicking on the data area. Now clicking on the Data tab at the top, I can view judgments by expanding the arrow, clicking on the computing subject name. My current task was with Year 2 children, so I can open up Year 2, and here's my 3 strands of the computing curriculum. The task I just set was with computer science objectives added, so if I want to monitor those, this is an idea of how it would look if children have been completing work and judgments have been added. What's really useful is if you want to take a closer look at a particular objective, you can click on it and it will then link you to the evidence that gives that outcome. So for example, if I wanted to see Amy's work that's showing me that she's working at for this level, if I click See Files, I've got the work here. As per the Spreadsheet tool, you'll be able to find further guidance on this data dashboard option within the assessment folder in the scheme of work. I recommend having a look at this video in particular to show you how you can use the data dashboard to help be able to monitor and track children's attainment in computing. When thinking about how to evidence any work children do on Purple Mash, the key thing is to ensure that children save their work. If the work is set as a to-do, then you can view all children's work by opening up your to-do area and either look in the active section or the past if the deadline has expired. If you click See Work, you'll be able to see all the children's work in one place to easily open, mark. If you want to select multiple copies and then select this 3-dot option in the top right corner, you can then print out, comment, do whatever you need to do with all the extra multi-file actions in this menu. It's key to note as well that if you want to save any work as evidence offline, you can select Print and include comments and file details. And what this does is it creates a handy PDF with all the children's work on one document that you can either print out on paper or you can save digitally by clicking on the download button. This quite easily helps demonstrate the work children have done and gives time and date stamps for evidence. Finally, as long as a child has saved work in their to-do folder, the child will be able to see their work inside their own work folder. So as a teacher, you can click and expand your class, expand the child's folder, and in the to-do work area, you will find the work there with all the assessment guidance that have been added. Also, you can see this in icon view if you prefer. From a child's perspective, if I now go and impersonate that child, you'll find the work is accessible for them within their My Work folder in the subfolder called To Do Work. And you'll notice when they click on the work, there is no assessment guidance that they can see.